What's up, YouTube? So, as you may know, that Silksong is round the corner and it is going to be released in 2025. And it is quite a surprising thing that in the Nintendo Direct they really announced Silksong. Well, it's quite reasonable to not have expectations from new thing, as having expectations might ruin the experience for you. But it is also quite reasonable for you to have expectations from Silksong, as Hollow Knight was quite a successful title. Team Cherry took their time to create Silksong, and it has been around 6 to 7 years since the title was announced, and they have took their time with the game, and people are expecting it to surpass the original Hollow Knight title. Well, first thing first, the map. The map has to be at least 2 to 3 times bigger than the original Hollow Knight map of Hollow Nest. Silk Song will be incorporating much more elements and other things apart from the character designs, the locations, the equipments, the weapons, and etc. Therefore, the map needs to be bigger and it needs to be more accommodating than Hollow Nest. All of the areas shown in Farloom are appearing to be quite promising, and these areas are of a variety. I hope it will surely be fun to just explore the map of Farloom, just like in an open world game, even though the game is going to be Metroidvania. The next thing that Team Cherry needs to incorporate in the game of Silksong is the amount of weapons used and skills that Hornet shall have. The mobs in Silksong are definitely going to be much different and much more intimidating than the mobs of Hollow Knight. As we know, there is a difference between the protagonists of both the games. Silksong has Hornet as the protagonist, which is a much bigger protagonist than the Knight. I'm not just talking about the physical size, but in all other aspects. She uses a needle as a weapon as opposed to the sword of the Hollow Knight, and therefore the mobs are definitely going to be much more different than the original Hollow Knight game. The next thing that we can expect is the detailing in the backgrounds of the images of the stages. As we have seen in the new trailer released at the Nintendo Direct, the first area, that is the Moss Grotto, is much more detailed in the new trailer than the original E3 demo that was showcased much more earlier. The detailing might not sound a big deal at first, but it will definitely add up to the atmosphere of the stages as we will progress through the area of Farloom. Now, if we have talked about the detailing, we shall also talk about the quality of the game, or the frame rate, or whatever you need to call it. Well, Hollow Knight in itself had a very good quality and a frame rate, but since Silksong is its sequel, we can expect a much better quality and frame rate. Now, the lore of the game is not a very important deal to most of the players, but some players do like the lore to be much more expansive and much more multifaceted and multidimensional. So, if Silk Song has a much more deep and detailed lore than the original Hollow Knight, then it would be a cherry to the cake. As the lore of a game helps build a sentiment towards it. And last but not the least, do I need to mention the soundtrack? Christopher Larkin did a very great job with Hollow Knight, and its OSTs are one of the best in Metroidvania. Well, not just Metroidvania, in video games in itself. And I am hoping no less from him in Silksong. We hope that we have much better and much more immersive soundtrack in this game. Well, those were few things that we are expecting from Silk Song, as the expectations are really high and the stakes are really high, and Team Cherry needs to deliver since it took its time with the game. Well, it would be nice if you subscribe the channel and turn on the notifications, as I'll be keep updating you about Silk Song and posting more and more videos on Hollow Knight. So that's it for today, and bye bye.